Hello there and welcome back. Today we talk about effect chains. So in front of me I have some of my favorite pedals. I collected a lot of them during the year, but I use them all, and I found out that some pedals pair amazingly to other, and hence I create some sort of chains that I keep using over and over. We will go through 4 of my basic chains. Of course, they're always changing and evolving. So this is at the beginning of 2021. And Happy New Year, guys, by the way. We will feed them with some different music and have some fun. And as usual, most of it is just improvisation, and we'll see where we go together. Please, if you want to help me, follow me, share this video. I'm trying hard to post every week and offer you guys what I know. And I hope you really enjoy it. I am really happy of your support and very grateful for all of you guys. Anyway, let's start with the first chain. Okay, this is the first chain I'm gonna go through. It's a microcosm into rooms. I use this a lot in my live setup. I feed the sound from the Model 1 mixer. So basically I have my full composition going on, and I use a send from the mixer to feed the in here in stereo. So then it goes into rooms, and rooms go into another, not a return channel, but a full channel on the mixer. So I will have all the EQ and the capacity to modify further the sound. I don't set up this pedal in a precise way, but I like to improvise with them and hear what is coming in and just play with it and create interesting backing sound or soundscapes. And this combo is really good for that kind of technique. So this is the sequence that I have. And this is the octatrack sequencing the performer. When I want to feed them, I just turn on the send effect and hear what happens. Right now you hear the dry sound from one channel of my mixer, and then the other channel is the effect. So let's turn down the dry signal. This will be the full dry effect. Right now we are on the glide algorithm. I have to say that after a couple of months that I own this pedal, I mostly use mosaic, glide and interrupt. Interrupt is really cool with the rhythmic thing. Maybe we can try something. Then of course we go inside rooms that had the most beautiful reverb. I love how creative rooms can get, especially if you play with it. You can mix, of course, the wet and dry so we can hear. Let's try mosaic. I love mosaic when I want to create a soundscape that is stay behind the sequence. So if I bring the sequence back with the dry channel, you can hear how these make the composition fuller. The microcosm is synced with the MIDI, so it's interesting because if I do subdivision, it will always be in time. So sometimes I had some space and then play with the space here more. On rooms, I usually use the room algorithm and peak. Peak is one of my favorites because you can actually isolate the frequencies you are interested in. You can hear. So lately when I do my live, and you can see we do weekly live, I always have these two guys, and they really help in doing transition or just really make interesting and unpredictable sounds. Let's try interrupt too. Interrupt, it creates some sort of glitchy interruption in the sound. So basically, this is a combo that is really hands-on and allows you to create on the fly very, very great sound. You can sometimes end up in some sort of a distortion zone, because again, I like the fact that it's a pretty wild combo, and I use it exactly for that purpose, creating something unexpected and new. I don't like to have any preset in my mind. Here, how this is creating interesting sequence. You can hear how it's easy to get distortion going on. I found out that this pedal especially doesn't like very hot signals, so you need to be very careful, at least in my experience. So I need to dampen the sound a lot before getting into here. Of course, there's so many other algorithms. Sometimes I use haze. And now if I turn down the affected sound, you hear how that was really giving a more fuller tone and way more interesting kind of soundscape quality. So I really enjoy having these two on my, sometimes I put it on my master bus, like directly my octatrack go directly inside here, and it's just fun. You just tweak and embrace what will come out. And you know how much I love this concept of just going with the flow. Now with some added rhythm. And one cool things that I do sometimes is just do a long session playing randomly and then recording these and then chopping up later, and I will have very weird loops that I can use back in other composition. Alright, I think this is it for this chain. Let's try the new one. Okay, here my second favorite chain. If you know me and listen to my music, you know that I'm heavily influenced by the sound of the 303, the Roland 303. I always use this instrument, that is the Abstrakt instrument Avalon. It's a clone of the 303, a clone on steroids. It gives you a lot of more possibilities and a way to modulate the sound. I really love it, and if there's one instrument that I would save from a fire, probably would be this, for the respect and the love I have for it. And since the beginning, I always used it with this two pedal here. It's a pretty simple chain, but it's definitely defined what I think it's my sound. So Strymon Dig is a dual digital delay, and it has few modes. Basically, it's two delay line that you can control separately. Both are stereo, so it goes mono inside here, then from stereo here go into the Blue Sky. Blue Sky is one of the unsung hero of my production. It's a very beautiful sounding reverb, very simple, and I love this Strymon format because there's some under the hood things you can do, pushing both button and some other stuff, but I love the fact that what you see is what you get, and they are bloody simple and it sounds great. So since the beginning, I love the 303 because it's a very simple instrument. It has that very characteristic sound, and so I always enjoy the fact that I'm gonna treat these in a very simple way. So what happened is, like, let's hear it, what happened. So this is a bass line from Orion, one of my very early tracks. So as you can hear, the sound of the 303 by itself is really not that beautiful. And at the beginning, when I wanted to buy one, I always felt, what am I gonna do with that? But I felt that I was fascinated by the sound. And things start getting together when you add effects on it. So let's start with the dig. So right now I'm having a ping pong effect with these two different delay line that you can select the time one with the tap, and then time two it will sync. You can actually unsync thing with the under the hood controls, but I don't really remember how to do it, nor I need it. I just like it as is. Sometimes I had some light modulation. There's three different kind of delay. I like, honestly, I'm not that fine of a connoisseur to perceive much of a difference between them, but I kinda prefer the 12-bit. It's a little more raw, and this is mostly the setting that I always use. It really make the sound like around your ears. And then we go inside the Blue Sky. So I love playing with the pre-delay and the different sound you get when there's this kind of percussive sound. It comes from the envelope trick that you can use on the Avalon. You wouldn't have this kind of stuff on the 303, but one trick that I always use is create this click to this you add a kick, and a lot of tracks that I recorded early on that I still love, it's mostly this, a kick, and just a pad. Because this kind of sound for me, it's what I love, it's myself, it's just really define most of my music. Sometimes I use shimmer. That's it. I really love this combo, and sometimes I can have fun for hours just having these guys and 606 or an 808, and that's it. You can really improvise and create tracks. Very simple, very minimal, but to me, very, very beautiful. So, of course, you don't need to have the Avalon to enjoy these. I feel that this duo would work great with any kind of sequence, mono sequence, like you can use it with or the Roland Boutique, for example. The 101 sounds amazing through this. So whenever you have a kind of a more percussive or with a short decay sound, I think this is a great combo, because you will have the chance to really feel the repetition. And anyway, yeah, love them. Okay, let's now check the new chain. Okay, this is my third chain, and it's what I will call the experimental ambient chain. I did a recent video explaining how I get ambient sound with the OP1 and some of these pedal, so you might be familiar with it. It's a chain that it's ever evolving. There's few staple, the shallow water and mood, they're always there, and then I like to use the Echo Dream sometime because it has a very interesting modulation effect on this delay, and then any kind of reverb that allows me to be very creative, like the Empress one. So, as you might see in the previous video, a trick that I always use is recording a sequence. And then half the speed of the tape. So you get this interesting ambient kind of evolving thing. It's an easy trick that always works wonder. So let's hear how the song get modified through all of these guys. So the first step would be for me to record something with the mood. Now we hear just the mood. I had some of its own reverb channel. I can, with the clock, I can change the pitch. And I like to just have some sort of texture below my sequence. Then we go inside the Fairfield. And you hear Fairfield had It's marvelous modulation. Love this guy. Love this guy a lot. Then we go in the Echo Dream. Honestly, Fairfield is not the kind of pedal that I play with it a lot, but I set it and forget it because it sounds amazing and it doesn't really need a lot of tweaking. Volume, sometimes it's important, depending on the pedal that I have after. So I can go pretty hot in this pedal, and then with volume it's pretty useful. For example, if I go inside the microcosm of the rooms that need a certain sweet spot for gain. So here is the time where I will decide. Echo Dream will add some other modulation. Like every Death by Audio instrument, it can become pretty wild. And then Empress sounds amazing. Any of its damn, today I'm forgetting all the words, but you'll forgive me. You guys know I'm Italian, so I'm trying hard. But any of the algorithm sounds amazing. I really like reverse one because it creates this kind of ethereal quality. I really like Ghost. Because it has this very high-pitched quality, ghostly, right? Modulation also, it's amazing. Of course, you can go full mix. Sparkle, it had some kind of shimmering thing. From this moment on, I can start recording on my DAW, and here is the moment to just improvise. So I pitch down the loop that it's here. So you start having like a bass. On this one, I like to change the time slit little by little and create this. So yeah. A sort of playground because this is the kind of setup that I use when I just want to do sound design and just sit down and record half an hour of random processing that then I will be able to use later on as a sample for other composition, or sometimes something beautiful come out and it's a track by itself. That's about it for this chain. Let's move to the last one. This is my last chain for today, and it's a kind of a bonus one because this is a new combo that I just put it on since yesterday, because I just received this bad boy here, and I'm still learning how to use it, and I still let's say this is my first digging the toe in the power of this pedal. I love how it sounds with the Echosystem. I also love that they're both white, and you know, the high ones is part. And I was experimenting with it yesterday with percussion. Lately I'm really interested, since I got the Nord Drum 2 that I'm loving a lot, I'm very interested in my live to create a sort of percussion sequences that go along with the techno track or the ambient track. I have to say that this is very fun to use, and I use with my pad, like playing with my hands or sticks, or I sequence it with Octatrack. Right now we will go with the Octatrack sequence, and we hear how these two pedals use in a not very extreme way add life to a simple sequence. So this is the clean sequence. It's just 2-track sequence right now. One is 16 step and one is 7, I think. So it's kind of evolve a little because it's a little polyrhythmic kind of stuff going on. So first I want to fill the soundscape with more bouncing reverb. So let's turn on I am having the tape and the reverse working. I like to use it kind of subtle, but you hear how now it's way more interesting. And I really like to use the Echosystem is a very interesting pedal because you can combine two completely different delay engine, and for each engine you have a full set of controls, so it can go very wild. I love using it with short decay sounds like percussion or stabs, because it really helps me to shape interesting new sound. So it's kind of subtle, but it's there. And now we go into the CMX 1978 from Chase Bliss and Meris. So right now I'm using a plate reverb algorithm with a standard. I'm gonna do a full review of this guy soon, but you can hear how these two guys together just give a new complete dimension to this very simple sequence, right? And sometimes that's what you need. It's not always to have an extreme set of effects that will destroy your sound and blow your mind. No, sometimes it's just having that little amount of space that makes your sound lively, makes in some kind of environment. So I always like to think, where is my sound right now? Where should it be? In a room, in a big hall, in the nature. So reverb to me are the most important pedals or effects, sorry, because you can place a sound in the environment you have in your head. So it's a way for me to imagine where my sound is traveling and what I want to convey with that kind of sound. Here, how much drastically change just with the whole, or in this case, room could be very interesting, because with short decay like that, it will feel more alive. Trick that I use sometimes when I record parts for tracks. It's just having my percussion sound go through pedal like this and start recording on my DAW and record many variations. Pre-delay also is very important to give the sense of the room. And then just to let you guys see, if you push this, look what happened. Oh. I really love that. I can stay hours just watching that. It's an interesting approach, this one, because rather than deciding a reverb time with second or whatever it is, basically you use the EQ, and the thought behind that is like the absorption that the reverb tank will have on the sound. So it's interesting. With cross you decide how to split the reverb time between bass and mid. And then there's some bonus mode that definitely are more creative, but we will get to that in another video. Okay, so that's about it again. I hope you understand a little on how I like to use my pedals and how I like to have the right tool for the right sound I have in my head. Of course, it's amazing and fun to mix all of this stuff together. I'm very lucky to own a good collection by now, and you know, it's something that I would keep buying if I could. Lately, my idea on pedals, it's actually that they are, to me, more important than the synth itself sometimes. I can use any kind of synth and then create an interesting chain and then create a very personal, unique sound. Maybe a sound that I won't be able to recreate anytime more. And I have just to record, I have just to commit to that, and that's all things that are very dear to me and very interesting to me. So I like the idea to start with a very simple synth, could be a 101, a Juno, something like that, and starting from a very simple, recognizable song, try to create something unique. It's a very interesting exercise, and there's no rules, of course. That's the beauty of it. It's just you can use this pedal in all the wrong way, and sometime, not always, sometime you got something nice, something inspiring, and from that moment you can just record and create on top of it. But yeah, I would say that pedals are the most fun part of creating music to me. And thanks to all of the amazing brand, most of them boutique brand, that keep creating and delight us with these super fun tools. Well, that's about it for this week. I hope to see you again on the next one. Hope you like this video. Have a great day. Ciao.